Hey, beautiful souls, Vidette Mayer here. I had an interesting moment that I wanted to share really quickly. I had a beautiful lunch with a friend today and came home and was just kind of having a quiet moment, kind of coming down. I don't get out very often, and not for fear or anything like that. It's just I've been very called to cocoon into my world for about the last month. So this is kind of like the big outing to go see a friend, and I came home and was just kind of decompressing from being around all of the people and the energy, and um, I was given an article, and as it happens when I kind of click, sometimes I go down the rabbit hole of research, and I came across in that research, I came across a Bible verse. And I was raised as a Catholic and with the Bible, and it was something I resisted for so long. But there was something in me that wanted to remind myself to come back to it. And as I've gone more and more down the spiritual path, I've been able to really take important passages that have resonated with me over the years and translate them into a consciousness, which helps me then see the truth beyond the scary words and and some of the damnation that's talked about that always led me to believe, like, I don't think it's like that, but I didn't have any other context. But now I'm being able to make those connections and understand how the Bible has so much wisdom and so much truth in it, and yet it's delivered in a consciousness of fear sometimes. And I want to find the truth in it and set aside the fear-based part of it. So this piece that I came across, I'm going to read to you real quickly, and it's Romans 12, 1 to 2, verses 1 to 2, and it says, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." And all of a sudden, I just understood it as I translated it to consciousness and parts of consciousness that are sometimes misunderstood. So that first part was, give of offer of your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing. And to that, I translated that to creativity, using our human life, our human form, our physical form, our bodies, and this incarnation of our bodies, using them out in the world and using our voices, our physical ideas and imagination, and how that shows up for us. What is our creative message that we want to share? It doesn't have to be a big platform. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It can simply be being in it every day in some way, and having that fill your heart so much that the joy just spills out. And that ripple goes to your family and your extended family and your neighbors and your neighborhood, and on and on and on. The ripple effect has already started when we say yes to using our human creative function out in the world. And then from there it goes into, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Is there the possibility of us changing our minds of what it means to be creative in the world? And rather than, what does it say? Rather than conforming to the pattern of this world and saying yes to working jobs and doing things that we don't really want to be doing because they make us miserable and we know it, and yet we don't know what else to do. But what we'd rather be doing is this activity of just being us. And what if we could get paid for being us? And what if we could do our life and be in our life and have that be the way to supporting us? The Bible is saying that's exactly what needs to happen. We cannot conform to what we should be doing, but only saying yes to that wild within that wants us to be creative with our human expression. And in turn, We transform by renewing our mind and choosing a different system and a way of life to be a part of. And then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. If you are trying to figure it all out and you're saying yes to things that make you miserable and you are taking the lead on life, you don't know what God's will is because you're not living it. And it's in saying, I will finally let this go and I will see what God's will is. God's will is consciousness. The bigger, it's the creativity. It's the wild within that leads us to the next step of what is our will to do. And when we do that, when we say yes to our will, honestly, that's God's will. That's Gus's will. It's universe's will. It's spirit, source, God, whatever you want to call it. It is its will when you allow it to come through you by being a vessel of that creativity, whatever it is. And then at the end of this passage, it says, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. It's all good. It's pleasing to your soul, and all is well. Trust what you're being called to say yes to, wild one. Trust it. The Bible says it, and then creativity and your soul and everything is trying to speak through you with all of this chaos that you're feeling. You're up, you're down. But when you go down, pay attention to that. Are you saying, yes, you're going down because you're like, gosh, I should do it that way. It'd be so much easier. I won't have to explain myself. I won't have to do something, that everybody's going to wonder what the hell I'm doing and if I've lost my mind. If you choose this and you follow this, people are going to think you lost your mind. But just for a time, trust yourself. Have the consciousness to answer the call of your inner soul. She's speaking to you. Thanks for letting me share with you today. Mwah.